What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you an NFL trade prediction video on Panthers running back Miles Sanders. I believe he'll be traded to the Indianapolis Colts this offseason. But before we get started, guys, let me know in the comment section, do you think this could happen? Do you think he stays with the Panthers, or do you think he goes somewhere else? In this video, I will be giving you alternative options on if the Panthers and Colts can't strike a deal or the Colts have no interest. I do have other options for Miles Sanders if he is cut or traded and it's not to the Colts. So I have maybe 2 or 3 extra teams that could use his services still. But let's get into it, guys. As we all know, Miles Sanders is a pretty talented running back, but last year, 2023, with the Panthers, his first year there was a no-go. It was not good at all, but he is talented. He still is good. I don't know if he's still an RB1 type of guy, but I think he's still, can definitely, team can use his services. And a team like the Colts, which we'll get into in a few minutes, and his potential fit there makes a lot of sense. But going to Miles Sanders, previously with the Eagles before going to the Panthers, had a pretty good run there, drafted by the Eagles, and he was solid time. We all know the Eagles had a great O-line since he's been there. Awesome O-line led by Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, who's now retired. So he had it good with that great O-line. Then going to the Panthers last year, 2023, not so much. The whole team was a mess, offense, defense, but no one really stood out that much. But and this year is different. The O-line is upgraded. The Panthers spent a lot of money on their offensive line. I know they added two guards, left guard and right guard, and a right tackle, if I'm not mistaken. They put a lot of money into their offensive line, a lot of money. But they did add on a new running back that's got a lot of value to them. Former Texas running back Jonathan Brooks. I think he'll be, we all think, I'm pretty sure that he'll be in the running for RB1 with Chuba Hubbard. So, I think that leaves Sanders as the odd man out unless an injury happens pretty soon in camp. Knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope everyone stays healthy. But we know those things happen, so let's be realistic. But if it doesn't happen anytime soon and Sanders is put on a trade block officially, I think the Colts are the standout spot for him, and that's for Shane Steichen. You follow this channel at all, I believe in past connections, and I've been right a lot about it, my prediction videos. I've been wrong a lot as well. I'm not saying I'm not, but past connections is something I use, and it just makes the most sense about players going with former coaches, whether it be a head coach, OC, former running back coach, former GM, former team president, all that good stuff. Guys love, and I say this every time I say it, guys love familiarity. Guys love the thought of a player that they drafted or they had years ago. Connections and relationships matter. We all know that in real life. We know it in business. Same thing for football and sports as well. And we see it all the time. For example, I predicted my Falcons to sign Darnell Mooney from the Bears last year in free agency. And it did happen, because our current GM, or our current, he's a senior advisor, Pace from the Bears. He was the Bears GM when they drafted Darnell Mooney. We need a receiver. Darnell Mooney was available. Pace knew Mooney. He drafted Mooney. It all makes sense, and it panned out. And that's an example how I use that. I use it as well with Jesse Bates. Came to the Falcons. We needed a safety bad. He didn't really fit our scheme, but we had the former Bengals like safety coach or something like that. He was our he's our coach, or he's somewhere in our organization somewhere, and we brought him in and signed him as well. So stuff like that, and I'd be wrong on that stuff too, but that's the first thing I look into when a player needs a new situation, and Miles Sanders clearly needs one. And I think the Colts need a backup running back for Jonathan Taylor. I was very upset as a non-Colts fan to see Zach Moss leave. Zach Moss, to me, and I said this plenty of times last year, I didn't understand why when Taylor came back, they left Zach Moss alone. Zach Moss was very, very good the first few games, that early stretch before Taylor came back, because Taylor sat out because of injuries and stuff. Not injuries, but the pay. And we know Taylor has a little injury problem. He gets banged up a lot, whatever. So I was not a fan of the Colts really diminishing Zach Moss' role last year, and then obviously they let him go to the Bengals this year, and in off season. So I wasn't really a fan of that. But if they can add Miles Sanders to Jonathan Taylor in that backfield, I think they'll be a great backup option. Shane Steichen's system, which Miles Sanders knows, and then you have a good offensive line, similar to what was with Philly. Obviously there's no Lane Johnson there. There is what's their top dog name? I forgot his name now. Shucks. But the All-Pro Hall of Fame future, was it guard, I think? I forgot his name now. It slipped my mind. Colts fans are going to crush me for this. But he's there. The team looks better. Shoot, the team just went viral yesterday. I just seen because they were like, Anthony Richardson gonna have no problem being protected. You've seen a bunch of big white boys on that O-line just walking from wherever they're going to, I guess, to training camp practice, and they were big. They look intimidating. Those some big boys. So he will be heavily protected. But I have my concerns about Richardson and his play style and his health. But that's another video for another day. But as far as Sanders fit with the Colts and that O-line and that scheme and everything, perfect. I think there's no other running back right now that could be available that makes the most sense for Shane Steichen's offense with the Colts and to pair him behind Jonathan Taylor. I just hope if they do bring in Sanders or whatever running back they do have, the backup Taylor. Taylor's awesome. Taylor's great. I get it. You just paid him. You want to preserve him as much as possible. Don't just exile RB2, RB3. Use them. Don't wait until Taylor gets hurt. Use them often. So when the end of the season comes, the last stretch of the season, you need to win these games to get in. Taylor is fresh, and you have a better chance of him being healthy than not healthy. But that's my thought on that. So I think the Colts are a clear-cut favorite, or at least the best team available to land Sanders. The interest, I'm not quite sure. So that's the only hiccup there. But on to some other teams that could use Miles Sanders. I have three or four, but you never know how things might shake out. Some are a little iffy fits, but the Chiefs, the Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's back with the Chiefs. I thought he would have walked and went somewhere else. Did not go anywhere else. Still there, or they would have cut him or something. But he returned for another season with the Chiefs, at least for right now. He's not really a factor. He hasn't been a factor for them in a couple of years. He gets in sparingly here and there, but I think and Edwards-Helaire has been on my cut or trade list the last 2 years. So he'll be up there again probably before preseason starts. So we'll see what happens. But Clyde is good. Just didn't really pan out after the first couple of years. They upgraded the position with Isaiah Pacheco, and they had a receiving back as well. I forgot his name now, but he's going as well. So we'll see if Clyde can get a bigger role this year, but that's doubtful in my opinion. So bringing in Sanders could be a nice addition to that RB room for the Chiefs. So we'll see there. Next, New York Giants. No Saquon Barkley. Obviously, he's going to the NFC East rival, Philadelphia Eagles. But there's no real standout RB1. They have a decent guy like their rookie Tracy, but you're gonna need more running backs to help with Tracy and Devin Singletary, former Bill, former Texan, who had a good year last year with the Texans. You're going to need more, So I think adding Sanders to that mix with Singletary, with Tracy, could be something solid. As I said, none of those guys are true RB1s. Maybe, yeah, I guess if the only true RB1 might be Sanders, if you want to say that, but I think Singletary right now might be better than him. I'm not quite sure, but it's all about committee, so a trio or at least a duo of Sanders and Singletary is pretty good behind Daniel Jones and that O-line, or you can work in Tracy as well, who I like a lot, the rookie. So a trio there. So we'll see what happens there if he were to be moved. But I don't know who will be the starter if he went to the Giants. Maybe Singletary, but I think it'll be 50-50 split carries between him and Sanders if that were to happen. And lastly, I would say the Baltimore Ravens. I know they had Derrick Henry, but their player last year, Keaton Mitchell, will be out for a while. He won't. The quote on him is he won't be back anytime soon. A nasty injury at the end of the season last year, so they do need some depth. Gus the Bus Edwards went to the Chargers, and he's dealing with injuries now, but he'll be back pretty soon for them. So I think they could definitely use his services there in Baltimore, who love running the ball, and they love putting the ball on the ground and being active there. So the Derrick Henry, who's been fairly healthy his whole career, you never know. You want to have a good backup there, good backup or two. We know the Ravens' history as far as their running back injury goes, and as I said, Henry's older now, but he's been healthy his entire career for the most part. But you never know. You never know. One hit could change things. Knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen for Henry this season, but you never know. So you want to have as much experience, as much talent in their RB room for Baltimore as possible. And same for Jonathan. The same thing for Henry goes for Taylor, especially for Henry because he's older and more wear and tear. You want to have your big dogs fresh at the end of the season, as fresh as possible. It's the NFL. You're going to get banged up. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hit. You're going to get wear and tear. I understand that. But for times you don't need Henry to run these balls, to run the rock on certain downs, bring in your RB2. Lean heavy on your RB2, on your RB3. Keep your guy fresh. If you're winning games, you don't need to pound Henry to the ground 25 times. 15, and then the rest goes to Sanders or the other backup and make or Lamar Jackson. Spread it out that way, not just have it. Henry get 25, Lamar get 5 to 7, and that's it. That to me makes no sense. So spread the love around. Use your RB2, use your RB3, and so those are my extra teams, my alternative teams I have if Sanders isn't going to the Colts. The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Giants, those are my top 3 there. But we'll see. It could be another team, or even Sanders could be staying. You never know how things shake out. But I definitely think, the Panthers will be looking into it soon to see any takers for Miles Sanders. And, it could be a trade. It could be a release and sign by the Colts. But I think Sanders will prefer to go to Shane Steichen. But that's just me. We'll see what happens. That's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.